Welcome to this video. My name is Marie, the Automation Junkie. Through this training series on SuiteDash, I'll take you from an amateur to an expert level. Let's get started. So in this video, we're going to talk about the menu items as well as go through some toolkit items that are inside of SuiteDash. The first thing we're going to discuss is the My Account menus, just going through them one by one so that you can understand exactly what they are entailing. The first thing is going to be the profile picture. So you're able to change your icon. It will change it both locations up here and over here, which I really like because it gives you that personalized feel. You're able to also change your basic information from your first name, last name, all the display names. So it would update it from this display name to showcase here. And then you can also change your time zone, your email, etc. Down here, you also have the ability to do your password changes. So you have to know your old password to change it into a new one, so just keep that in mind. As well as you can activate your two-factor authenticator, which I normally like to set up while I am doing the first basic setup. Next menu item is going to be the organization settings. The organization settings are primarily focused on the company itself. So you're able to update the name of the company, the email, and also the website details. This is also going to need the location. And then once you are on this page, you're going to have to put the address in because it is a required field. So please just take note of that as you're going through the setup. I also like to update any of the time zones here because then you can set it as a default to all of the users, as well as I like to update some of the privacy and convenience modes here. I'm going to talk about the privacy and convenience modes for a second, because this is going to be important for people who are tax-based or people who really want to take note of the HIPAA compliance rules. So if the compliance mode is not toggled, it will then have the client come into the portal in order to send messages or receive messages or communicate. Outside of the portal, they are not able to do that. If it is toggled, you're able to have them respond via their email. So it will just show the email as displayed inside of the message here, and it will allow them to reply via their email inbox. So they do not have to come into the portal for any reason because it's the convenience mode of them. This is going to be something that you want to take in notation if you have any HIPAA regulations, because you have to have it toggled off if you are a tax professional or other companies that are going to be sharing private information. The general settings down here are based on visibility for integrations, as well as the notification for when someone comes into the new portal. This can be assigned based on a staff. You can also assign it just to yourself if you want to, but you can also add any type of staff member that you have in here. I like using it because you want to possibly add your admin as the second hand to know when someone has successfully signed in. Things like that just makes it a lot easier for your process as you set that up. The timer widget is on default activated. I've deactivated mine because I don't use the timer process in here. But with the timer, similarly to Toggle or any other tracking tool that you may have used, this allows you to track time within SuiteDash as well as bill per that time. You can also choose the actual staff member who will need to utilize this versus others. So it's very convenient for just going ahead and doing that. Any trigger automations when a prospect is confirmed for onboarding automations can be also defaulted. So if you want to default when they come in, then they're going to automatically get something. You can have that set up inside of the organization setup. You can also do any triggers for the client. So there's two different. There's a prospect, which technically I classify prospects as people who have not officially paid, but they're, on the way to a client. And then a client is a full paid client. So that covers the organization settings and inside of Manage Account, this is where you're able to see your account details. So if you are a person that has multiple suite keys, or if you have any kind of power ups, you're able to check it here. You can see your storage as well as you can see the redeeming of the suite keys at this button here, you can redeem, I think up to 10, which it says here, max of 10. So that is good to know. You can also take your SuiteKey, remove them, and put them into another SuiteDash account to make a brand new one. So that's a great thing to just keep note of. I love power-ups. Power-ups are the use of just extra features. In this build itself, it does not have any power-ups, but you can see the different type of power-ups that they do have, and each of them are a bundle of joy because they have features that are very useful per this package. Some of them may be beneficial to you and some may not be. The one that I have that I really enjoy is the Prime bundle because the ability to have sales funnels is a must. And also the ability to also have the PDF document signing based on your templates is also great. This also has an embeddable remote chat that can be embedded on your website, which has been useful in the past. So that's great. This is another power up that just allows you to send marketing tool. It's a marketing toolkit, so it helps you to have great developability. So that is going to take the stance of the manage account. Then go over to the integrations. With the integrations, you have a few things. You have the ability to connect your QuickBooks account here. It's a quick button and set up. You have the ability to set up your Zapier account. You'll just take your token and then your username and take that and set that up yourself. You're also able to set up your Google to sync. This connects only with one account, so please be mindful of that because a lot of people get confused. You can connect multiple accounts. You cannot. You can only connect one account, so please be mindful of that. The other thing is you have Twilio. Twilio is the ability to send text messages through the system. It is not a UI-friendly design inside of Twilio, but inside of here, it automatically sends out the text messages based on the automation triggers. And then, of course, you have Zoom because Zoom, you'll be able to connect your Zoom account and that would automatically be created for any calendar appointments that are connected. That takes care of the integrations. And we're going to move over to the Academy. So the Academy is SuiteDash based. As you can see, it does take you into another dashboard because this is SuiteDash's dashboard, allowing you to be able to just take a look into their Academy and learn all about SuiteDash. I'm not going to go through this because this is a self-learning pace. And so I want you guys to take the moment to pause this video and look in here if you choose to, or you can just continue the video and come back to this at a later time. So we're going to discuss now messaging. So messaging has a drop down to the left panel, and in the sidebar, you're going to see two things. You're going to see inbox and sent. So the sent box is going to be what has been sent. The inbox is going to be inbox. So anything that's incoming, anything that's sitting inside of your inbox currently. Once you click on inbox, you automatically get directed here. But if you click on this plus button, it takes you directly into a new message. So that is a cool way to automatically get into a quick message. You're able to send it to any of your staff members and also to clients, circles, companies. You can do it that way. Whoever's in your contact list, you're able to send it to. The great thing about this is that you can always do a CC, so it feels like a regular email box. You have the ability to CC, you have the ability to add your subject, and the messaging is going to be what you see is what you get. So you're able to add photos, you're able to add different items, and it's pretty easy to use. So there's a few things to notate within this inbox. It can be tricky at first, but sometimes when you're pasting, it's not always the best paster. So keep in mind that you have to kind of take a note of how it pastes. Pasting like this works fine, but let's say that you were grabbing an actual copy and paste from a different location and it pasted like this. It's never fun to have to sit and go like this and then fix the formatting. So you have to be able to just look at how you're pasting items. Something that I do like to do is to paste as match, and sometimes that works, but there is a way around it. The way around it is going to be through the HTML. A lot of people do not like to do this because when you're doing HTML coding, you have to play around with the font, you have to play around the coding, and not everyone knows coding, nor do you want to sit in Google coding for a while. So I would just say to first try to format it in a different location and then paste it here when you're sending. Remember, this is like an email, so you're able to send images, you're able to send different GIFs and things like that, and you can also add canned responses. I'm going to go over there now because sent inbox is literally just a sent box. So an email that's sent will go there. So it's not really anything that I can show you in there, but let's go straight to canned responses. In the canned responses, what I do like is the ability to create a canned response, but you can either auto add it, auto use it to reply, or have a specified subject line every time that you're using this canned response. So let's say, for example, I'm going to put this here and I'm going to call this tester. I'm just going to copy that a few times and I'm going to call this test, right? So if I wanted to, I can add a subject here and I'm going to go back to new message and I'm going to then click on that canned message now, which is going to be at the bottom. Because I defaulted and made it that it adds automatically, it automatically adds here, but if I want to remove it, I could just click it and it removes automatically. So it's a very unique space. However, sometimes I've noticed that when we're creating a new message, it does not allow you to start the email at the top. It sometimes comes in like if you have this auto added, it would actually start it at the end instead of starting it at the top. Don't know why it does that, but it's something that SuiteDash has been working on. The other thing I'm going to show you is the settings because there are a few unique things inside the settings that is very important to note. For those who want to control the actual person a prospect or a client can message, you can do that in here. So you're able to restrict messaging for contacts and they can only send it to their coordinator. The coordinator can be assigned at default, so you can be able to set up their coordinator through your flow, or you can just designate a staff to whom you want the contacts to be able to message. And that's always a unique way as well to do this. I do also like to note that there's a way for the clients and also the recipient. So any recipient can actually manage if they can have a read receipt. So if they want to verify that someone has read it, this is going to be a little box that shows them that this person has read it. It'll send them an automatic email. You can take that off. And so it will not allow anyone to do it, or you can restrict it to the only people you want to. So I wouldn't put client and prospect there. I'd probably put the team just so that they can be able to know when a client or prospect has read something. And that's a great way to keep up with any message. Now let's go to calendar. So the calendar is going to be on the left panel here, and you're going to go all the way to the top and click on my calendar. As you've noticed, there's a few different calendar features at the left as well. So you have my calendar, my appointment types, you have the default availability and settings. So I'm going to go through them on this side here. When you're setting up your calendar, you want to sync it through integrations first, and then it will automatically sync here. So once you've synced it, then you'll be able to see all of your upcoming events. You can then create an appointment type based on your desire. So the appointment types are pretty easy to create. It allows you to just choose the name. You can do a public description. You can have a success message. You can even have the button text to be as whatever you want. You can also assign this to a staff member. So you as a super admin or whatever staff that you have on board. You can change the styling as well as the icon and the visibility. So again, you can specify that it's only for a certain circle or you want to hide it from certain circles. So that's the uniqueness there. You have the ability to also set the default availability. So the default availability is going to be your regular hours. If it's going to be Sunday through Monday, whatever the case is, you're able to add as many time slots as you want and need. So these are all sliders, so you're able to adjust it based on sliding, and then you can take it away or make it as short or long as you need it. You can also just change down here the duration of the appointments. So you can have padding between the meetings. So that means if you want to have a 30-minute break between each call, whatever that looks like for you, you'd be able to do that, as well as the starting intervals. The starting intervals would be, if it's going to be 15 minutes, it'll be 9:15, 9:30. So it's going to be starting in intervals of that. The prep time will allow you to allow the space between setting a meeting. So if you want someone to only be able to set a meeting a day in advance, then you'll be able to do that, as well as the future availability will say they can only see up to 45 days. You can do those things. You can block availability, as well as you can set reminders and notifications. I like to do this at default. So at default, I would like to send an email. You can also add a notification and send just the notification itself. You can do this for all your existing or future ones. So it's pretty easy to use, and I love just being able to have the Outlook email notifications that gives me a visual of what my schedule is going to look like for the next day. A lot of people ask as well about how does my Zoom connect to SuiteDash without me having to do anything. Well, there's a few things I'm going to go to before I do that. You can enable and disable the appointment scheduler as you feel. You can also allow contacts to schedule appointments or disable it. That's the greatest part about just control behind here. You can also change the button names at default here. And then you can start your calendar defaults with a Sunday or a Monday. I know a lot of people, like myself, I like to start my weeks on a Monday, because Sundays to me is not like the start of my week, but that all depends on your schedule. When you are in your calendar here, there's going to be a button that appears once an appointment type is created. So let's go ahead and create a button so that you can see what I mean. So we're going to do a test here. And I believe I need to add a staff, and pretty much that's it. So when you've created this appointment, there is an important step to do, which is to go to your options and set it as active. If it is not set as active, it will not show up on anyone's calendar. The other thing I like to do is auto create a meeting. So when you're auto creating a meeting, it will then allow you to select your Zoom or Google Meet tool that you're using. It also gives you the Zoom settings, so you can enable that they can join before you. You can also use your own personal ID, or you can start meetings without your video. So that's just a cool way to just notate how to do that. I like to just keep it the single way of they join and that's it. It will tell you though if it's not connected. I did not connect mine, so that's what you're seeing here. It's a quick setup process, not long at all. The other settings that are here are going to be the settings for styling, the contact reminders, notifications, and so on and so forth. If you ever wanted to inactivate this, you can simply do it by clicking this button here. In this case, I'm not going to do that, but it allows you to inactivate it for all types of clients. When you go back to your calendar, you'll now be able to see this add appointment button. When you add the appointment, it will allow you to choose a contact, and then you can schedule it on their behalf. So when you click the date and you click the time, it'll then have another pop-up to say, hey, do you want to schedule this appointment for them, and send them reminders. If you do so, you can also set the notifications at the times, and then it will automatically send them an email and let them know. So as you guys can see, the increments were the 15 minutes. So it's 4:15, 4:30. So it goes in the 15-minute interval. And that is all about the calendar. Let's jump into the marketing. So the marketing has another drop down that gives you a few options: campaigns, audience, templates, and settings. So if I click on campaigns, it's going to take you to the campaign section, which in this case, it tells you exactly what campaigns are, but it just allows you to just send out a one campaign or a one newsletter or one email blast is what you'll call it. Of course, you'll have to set up the sending first, but you're able to set this up, and once you do set it up, you'll be able to then set any kind of campaign. For audiences are going to be based on either your individual audiences that you create inside of here or circle audiences that you've already linked the marketing specialty to that we'll talk about in another video. I like to always create a circle and then make sure that they're connected to a marketing group because it just makes it easier where they're all connected into a marketing sequence. The other location that I love is the template. So let's say that you have a setup that you use all the time. With this template creator, you're able to add either a marketing template or a drip sequence template. The marketing template is one of those blasts, and the drip sequence is going to be more so scheduled. So you can do one or the other. I'll do marketing. And when you're going to the setup, you'll have what you see here is what you get, or you'll have the advanced code editor. Now, I laugh because a lot of people do not like to code. And if you do like to code and you're in here, well, congrats. You just came into your dreamland. But if you don't like to code and you want to just create something that's easy for you, you can literally just use the visual editor and it would allow you to create all of your content and then save it as a template. Once you've created that template, you're able to then create a campaign based on that template, or you're able to send it to an audience based on that template. The last thing is going to be your send settings. So it did take me back here where we originally went to for the brand in emails because we have to set up that send information. So this is something that I want you guys to notate because it's important for you to know that this is a different location. If you go into email branding, you'll notice that email branding has a few more details. It has the email logo, it has the links for the footer, but it also has that sending method. So they do correlate, but sometimes you need to just pay attention to what you are looking for. If you're looking for like the address inside of your email footer, it's not going to be inside of the email branding. It will be inside of the marketing settings. So that is something to call out because it's a different location. So this is included in your footer if you put it in there. You do not have to put it in there, but it's just it's just complying with the the anti-spam laws. So if you want to put it in there, you totally can. We're going to go now to the files. Files is a location where a lot of people get very overwhelmed, but also very excited because there's a ton of things you can do in here. First things I want to do is go through the upper bar here, which is all the links. You have the ability to upload files, which is common. You can just drag and drop, or you can just upload your files via selecting it. You can create new folders. Please note that every client gets a new folder once they are generated because it just allows them to just have that folder hierarchy. You can create a new shared folder. With the shared folders, it allows you to share a link. So you're able to share that link with multiple users. You can request files, which I like to use because you're able to send them a file link that allows them to upload it. And you can transfer files. So transfer files is going to be a little bit different because you're going to create a package to send out transfers. And it's a unique way to actually collect data. And I like to use it. The biggest thing about here as well is these folder generators. So the folder generators we're going to talk through a little bit later, but this is where it's housed and it's very unique to use. All right, we're down to our last two. It's going to be the flows and automation. I'm going to talk on the flows first because it's a very unique space. So inside of the flows, there's two different types of flows. You have the ability to create onboarding flows, which is specific to new users. This will allow users to first come in and receive a line-by-line item, or maybe like a step-by-step item of what they need to do. That includes forms, it includes a video, it includes just a visual onboarding process. You also have the on-demand flow. It is the same exact thing, however, it's meant for users who are existing in the portal already. So you can send them at an on-demand pace. It does not matter what time you send it because you can always initiate this at any time. The onboarding flow will be very particular because it only initiates when they first log into the portal. So, for example, you can see that this onboarding flow has a read and e sign, And you have the option to, once they've connected and they've completed the first one, they go next and they complete the second one. I'm gonna go in and edit this so you can actually see what the flows can hold, because it's really amazing what you could put in here. So you can do any update or general form. That's very specific because you cannot put a kickoff form inside of here. You can only do an update or general form. You can do the form, you can do the ability to read or e-sign, which you just saw. You can also have an appointment block in here, which allows them to schedule an appointment. And I'll just add that so you can see it. You'll have to select the type of appointment they'll have to schedule. You can do file upload, file download. So I'm going to just add certain things so you can see. When you're doing the file upload or download, you will have to select a folder that it will go to. And then you have the ability to also do a file download, which you will have to upload an actual, file or folder to allow them to download that. And then you have the ability to just do some content. So this means that you'll be able to update I can add a picture if I chose to. I can add any kind of Giphy if I chose to. I can embed anything if I chose to. And so when they see this, even though it's probably going to ask me, it's not going to have a lot of things in here, but when you see this, they're going through the steps, you're going to see that they're able to schedule an appointment here, and then they can select the time. And once they select the time, they'll be able to do that. And then the file upload, allow them to upload a file. The download, if I had anything here, it would allow them to download that file. And then on this content/embed, you'll be able to see my picture. So it's a very clean way to just have them do an onboarding process before going into the actual portal, but you can also send this to them at any time. So let's say that for some reason within the tax process, you needed to ask them for a W-9 or a 1099 or whatever the case is, you can then do that within any time. Let's continue down to the automation section. So there's two automation things that you can select. You have schedules, which is fairly new, and then you have auto templates, which is also fairly new. So the auto templates is what you saw earlier in the other video, and that auto templates is going to allow you to just create triggers based on wherever someone clicks, or if you wanted to automatically do something. So it's a template that you can create a random name for, and then you're going to just add any template. So you're going to configure it based on your needs. If someone were to click a button for me, I want to automatically send a target email. Or if someone were to say that they selected, one service or the other based on a button that I wanted to set their salesperson. So it gives you the variety of just, resources, be able to do whatever you need. The other thing I like about the automations is the schedules. So the schedules is a newer feature that is very similar to the auto templates. Schedule is another thing that I really am in love with because you're able to use these as targets based on the CRM or staff. So they're triggered on the day that the schedule is activated, or on the date that is a custom field, or on a specific date itself. So once you set this up, then you're able to subscribe them to this. And I like to do this very cute thing because sometimes I come in here, I'm like, I don't know if I want to do it based on the date. So you can change it at any time. So that's a great thing to notate. But when you go into it itself, you're able to add the automations and the people that you want to be triggered by this. So the automations are going to be the same automations that are used inside the app itself, and you can add them in any sequence. So let's say that I want to do, I'm just randomly picking what's already inside of my saved list here, but you can trigger it at a certain time. You can also name it a certain thing, and then you can assign the automation. So the whole purpose behind this is that this is going to be a schedule. So it's going to go either on a drip. So if I were to add that, that would have been on a list here, and then I can add another one and another one. And so it will continuously flow until the completion of the schedule. I love that option. It just gives me the ability to just know that if I get a person inside of the portal and I want them to get an onboarding email, but I also want them to get them a gift or whatever the case is, I can be able to send that to them directly through the portal. The other thing I like is that you can import the contacts in from inside of the CRM. So you can select the people that you want to import into the schedule. And I'm going to import the selected, say yes. And now I have already selected the person that I want to put inside of here. And also the other thing that I like as well is that you can also, let me go back to it, export all the contacts that are in the schedule, because maybe you want to export them into another schedule or whatever the case is. That could be able to be done here. But you can see that I'm imported and you can export it anyway.
Well, I hope that you've enjoyed this video. Ready for the next one?